is easily one of the hottest colors that's been around for a while, and it's your pre-owned bike of the week. So what's up, guys? I'm Isaac here. It's Backer at Harley-Davidson, and I have your pre-owned bike of the week, this 2021 Harley-Davidson Ultra Limited in Snake Venom. Yeah, this one is a beauty, and actually this is such a cool color that it got brought back for 2025. You can actually get a Harley-Davidson Nightster in Snake Venom this year, so that's super cool. This color is one that's always turned a lot of heads because it's a shift color, and so what I mean by that is it's going to shift all the way across. So depending on the lighting and the situation, you're going to have this beautiful green, and it's heavy flake all over, but it's going to go from this green in the darker areas to this purple as it gets brighter. So as you walk around this bike, it'll just change colors all the way around. And this bike, you got to have sunshine for this bike. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous, but in the night it still looks good too. And it happens to be one of the best touring bikes you can get right now. And this is a 21 Ultra Limited, so it's a motorcycle that is made for racking up big miles for big trips. And it is pre-owned, so it's got a couple special features on it. Aftermarket, what you're going to see is you do have these taller bars, because there's really not a lot you really got to do to these bikes, these Ultra Limiteds at least, to really make them right. And they did two of the big three, so they went ahead and did some little bit taller bars for you. And you've got some Chromeworks slip-ons there. So all things to really make this bike stand out a little bit more. And so you do have some features that are already fantastic on this bike. And so I'll go and show you here in the rear. You've got these extra lighting in between the bags. You've got this bright brake light here. You've got your bright lights on the tour pack, and this tour pack is removable. So when you want a street glide, you can rock your street glide, and when you want Ultra Limited, throw that tour pack on, you're good to go. What doesn't really come off easily are going to be these lowers. So they're going to be really nice on days like today when it's a little bit nippier, because this is a twin-cooled Milwaukee 8. So it's a 114, so lots of torque. Fantastic motor for, you know, just chugging along for a long time. And it's going to stay a little bit cooler because in each of these lowers, you've actually got little radiators in there. So that way it's going to actually go ahead and pump some coolant through and around this motor. That way it's going to help regulate that temp a little bit better on those hot summer days. One of the most comfortable bikes you're going to ride because it's got big old floorboards for the rider and the passenger. Show you those right there. Big old cozy seat. These nice comfortable bars. You want to get some more air on, you can go ahead and turn these little deflectors in there for you. We might do that today. Great braking, full length fenders, bright LED lighting up here with the passing lights, and on the main headlight, you've got the engine guards, and then you have the saddlebag guards as well. Yeah, this bike's got almost everything. Heated grips, cruise control, your onboard GPS there, and this is the older style, so you don't need a subscription for it. You've got these big old saddlebags, and you have this massive tour pack with a luggage rack already installed on it. And what all can you fit in this tour pack, you might ask? Well, you can fit 2 full-face helmets in there, and all kinds of fun stuff. And this one already has a couple stickers on it already. Good to go. That way you can tell a little bit about where this bike's been. So, with all that, let's go ahead and show you what this thing looks like on the road. All right, time to fire this thing up and show you what it's like. So, key on. It is a 21, so it's going to do its full little check there. And let's throw this thing in neutral. You got a heel shifter. How about that? Accept our warnings. Fire it up. Chromeworks, I think, a lot of people that come through here, a lot of them go with Chromeworks, and rightfully so, I think, because they just seem like the quickest, easiest way to really get a lot better sound out of your motorcycle. Just to make it sound so much better, so quick. Because, I mean, it's just, all they are slip-ons, and just slipped on, you got really good sound. Get my glasses. It's bright out here. Listen to that. Oh yeah, and I'll show you these brake lights here too. So I'll throw my 4-ways on. I'll let you get the full experience here. Check that out. It's gonna be hard to miss that. Man, I can't get over this color, especially with the chrome. This is a sharp looking bike. But an Ultra Limited, you can take photos of it all day. You can show pictures of it from the dealership. But a bike like this, you got to get it on the road to show it off. because that's where this bike was designed to be. That's where this bike wants to be. It wants to be out on the road, just crushing miles. This bike it's got a range of 101 miles based on the half tank of gas I got here, but it's got 22,678 miles on it right now. I'm about to add a couple more to that. Not too many. Not too many. So, but let's check it out. If you like GoPros, it looks like it's already kind of set up. There was a GoPro mount on the tour pack, and also like another little mount up here for something. So I am gonna go and put these deflectors on because it's a little bit warm for late January up here today, or February, whenever this video goes out. Yeah, the Ultra Limited. What sets them apart now, let's talk about the Ultra Limited from the standpoint of compared to other 21s. So this is a 21, so compared to bikes of that year you had the Ultra Limited, and then of course you had the Street Glide Standard and the Street Glide Special. This thing handles good. I might have to check what suspension this thing's rocking, but you got that. You also have, wow, this thing's blocking a lot of wind. That's nice. This thing feels good. So you had the Street Glide, ignoring CVOs, but you had the Street Glide, and you had the Street Glide Special, and then you had the Ultra Limited. So the big things that jumped you up to an Ultra Limited was that it kind of came as a Street Glide. It's set up very similar to the Street Glide, because it has that batwing front fairing, but with this bike you got the 114 motor that you only had on the specials, and you've got your batwing fairing like the Street Glide, but it came with these little deflectors. It came with these lowers to keep that wind off your legs a little bit better, and in those deflectors you also got that twin cooling system, so that way this bike could regulate its temperature a little bit better. You also got a little bit more plush seat, a little bit longer suspension, and you also got, of course, the tour pack. The tour pack and the lowers, those guys, are probably the most distinguishing factors of the Ultra Limited. Easiest way to tell it apart from a Street Glide. So now, of course, you can add those things to those other bikes for the most part, but that twin cooling system, that's something that would be very tricky to add on to a Street Glide. And this thing handles really good. Oh, and you get the standard size saddlebags too. But it's 114, so I mean it still rips, and it's got a lot of suspension, so I got a good little bit of lean right here. Who says baggers can't come out and play a little bit here? And again, that's what's going to make you want to. That's another thing that's going to make you want to choose. This thing kind of hustles. That's another thing that's going to make you want to choose an Ultra over a Street Glide, is if you're doing a lot of 2-up touring, because that passenger is going to love riding on the back of this thing. Busy as it is back there, that thing sounds so good. Yeah, they're not going to mind riding all week with you to the Grand Canyon or something on this bike. And this bike is designed for that passenger. It's a little bit heavier, so it's a lot more stable. So, and you really, since it's heavier, you probably really won't feel that your passenger moving around as much. It's going to kind of cut out some of that feeling. But also in the tour pack, you're also going to see that the passenger gets some control. So this one's a little bit older, so you still have that hookup for your CB. So if you haven't hopped on the Cardo system yet, which I highly recommend, you can hook up your CB and not your CB, but your little headset there. And with your wired-in headset, you can actually control everything directly through the bike. So you can really kind of have a intercom set up between rider and passenger, but also they can have the bike stereo go to that headset too. And this bike does, and if you're not using the headset, this bike has great speakers. It's got great speakers up in the fairing and on the tour pack, so I can bump it up. I can crank it up a little bit if I wanted to. So that's pretty nice. Cut it back down for you. But it's got radio, Bluetooth, all that stuff. Felt great on the highway. Oh, all right, my bad. I'd have eased off if I knew that's what you were doing. Got your navigation right there, which you can see on my screen now. Again, it's all built in, so you don't really have to do much else to do it. Except keep it updated. That way you're not trying to find a restaurant that doesn't exist anymore. It's not great for group ride morale when you're like, oh, that looks like a good place to eat, let's go to it. You navigate there, and then you get there, and it's just a foundation. It's very upsetting. Definitely hasn't happened, but highly recommend keeping your stereo up to date. So I'm surprised at how much this bike's hustling. I think this is one of the more modern Ultras that I've ridden and put a mile or two on. I mean, this thing's, I get it. This thing's a lot of fun. Because I mean, I got torque to just run it, and it's pretty nimble for how big it is too. I am pleasantly surprised. So, and it's a Harley, looks great, and in this color, this might be one of the best looking colors for an Ultra Limited. Now, the biggest drawback to this motorcycle, obviously, that's probably going to be the weight. Probably going to be the weight is what's going to, the weight and the height, that's probably what's going to keep a lot of people away from this bike. If you want an Ultra Limited, but you really want to cut back on you don't really like the weight, then I would recommend either kind of dressing up another touring bike, another bike to be a little bit more of a bike you can manage, or check out the 25 Ultra. We just got one of those in, and it's cool. That's an impressive machine right there. That is a very impressive machine. So I would highly recommend checking that out, because it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what you can do with that bike. It's significantly lighter. It's a little bit more powerful, and it has the ride modes too. So if rider safety is something you're concerned about, you know, it's got a few more of this fun little features in there. So let's see how this thing turns right quick. I'm gonna say it's probably gonna turn pretty good. This thing's kind of fun, and it's got excellent braking. I mean, it's a lot of bike to get stopped. So I mean, it's got the brakes to back it up. That's for sure. The bars are great. A little wide and tall maybe for me, but they're comfortable. Yeah, they are. I definitely don't mind them one bit. It is heavy. Now, when you get moving, it does disappear quite a bit. And if you're pretty able, I mean, you can definitely handle it. For 99% of the general riding, yeah, you can handle it pretty good. Now, you know, 2 miles of gravel road to get back to your campsite, or something like that. I feel like if you do a lot of moto camping, then the Ultra gets a little bit sketchy, because then you probably find yourself trying to have to ride in some not great conditions. But so far as if you stay on pavement for 99 or 90% of the time, then this bike will be plenty fine. This bike will be good. Is that a Vespa? There's something classy about the old Vespas. Gotta love a good scooter. Man, ain't got no helmet, just running it. like this thing. Nice and smooth, great braking, very well balanced. You've got your passing lights, a little button to turn those on and off down here. Yeah, I mean, look at our screen. I got a lot of navigation. Oh, here's a cool feature. So, since if you're traveling around, you know, one thing a lot of Harley riders like to know is like, is there a Harley dealer nearby? I want to get me a shirt. So you can go search, and actually in your points of interest, it can show you where the nearest gas stations are, places to eat, places to sleep, places to get a Harley t-shirt, and places that are hospitals. So so you're probably gonna need one of those 5 things, or maybe you'll probably need, if there are 5 different kinds of places that you need to go and need quick directions for, it's probably those. So let's say I want to know where the nearest Harley dealer is, how to get there. Let's do some navigation. So Harley dealer, Tobacco Road, of course.
The route is being calculated.
Thank you. Let's go.
Prepare to turn 0.9 miles.
Turn right on Thistledown Drive. All right. We'll listen to the directions here. Wow, how about that?
Prepare to turn right in half a mile.
So we turn right, all right. I would prefer to have that speaker off, but yeah, so I'm like, oh man, I forgot where I'm at.
Right onto Thistledown Drive.
I want to get to Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson. Do those quick directions, and then I can see them pop up. So I see here it's going to throw me on I-40. So let's do that right quick. Let's hop back on the highway.
Turn right.
So 25 on the new Ultras with those limited, since it's now a center-cooled bike and your coolant goes through a radiator that's actually between the down tubes on the frame, or as you know, on the center of the bike, you know, there off the frame, it's there instead of in the lowers. But since you have lowers, now your lowers are similar to the pre-twin cooled ones like this, meaning you have storage in those again. So on this bike you won't, because you won't have storage in those lowers because that's where the radiator's housed. But on the new one, the radiator is not in those. Now you can kind of open the little cap and put some stuff in there. Put some smaller items that you know might need some quick access to, like another pair of gloves or something like that. There's some small things you can change based on the changing weather. So you can, you know, change the little vent up here. You can change those deflectors. You can turn on the heated grips. All kinds of fun little things you can do to get better set up for the various climates that you're likely to encounter. Because if you're putting on the miles like this bike is set up to do, then you're probably going to encounter some changing weather pretty quick. So the only thing that this bike doesn't have is a heated seat. Pretty much. Now it's going to have us go in through the front. That makes sense. Made some progress on the old park there, it looks like. Not any progress on the road here yet, though.
In a quarter of a mile, turn sharp right onto South Saunders Street.
I think we know our way now. Oh, yeah. Oh. Fancy place. All kinds of fancy places popping up out here. It's quick on and quick off the throttle, which is nice. But it's not overly sensitive, too. Oh, nice bike. Need to get some photos of this bike. Let's do that over here. And one thing to think about if you are concerned about the weight of your bike, if your bike's too heavy, one of the first things you should probably check is the tire pressure. You'd be surprised at how many people are like, oh, my bike's so heavy, and it's like, have you checked, or like, oh, my bike's heavy, like it handles terrible, and it's like, well, have you checked the tire pressure lately? And they're like, what's that? It's like, all right, well, let's show you. So that plays a huge factor in how heavy that bike is going to feel and how good it's going to respond. So as always, you can check your owner's manual for the exact numbers that your bike should probably be set at, or at least as far as for your tire pressure. So highly recommend checking that out. But in the meantime, here's this 2021 Harley-Davidson Ultra Limited in the gorgeous Snake Venom color with the chrome trim. So if you want to know more about this bike, then be sure to come see us here at Back Road Harley-Davidson. In the meantime, ride safe, and we hope to see you soon.